Ho, ho, ho! Are there any nice B2B founders here? Well, today we are going to be doing one of B2B Santa's very favorite marketing activities. We are going to be creating lead magnets. So, the way that we will create these lead magnets is using the stuff that we've already been doing in the first 3 days of the Christmas calendar. Now, on the very fourth day, we will take these outputs and we will use specific prompts in Gemini to then start creating lead magnets from scratch completely using AI. So, let's get into it. Before we do anything today, I want us to look at the bird's eye view for a second, because the stuff that we will be doing now is extremely powerful and extremely helpful in your B2B marketing, but it doesn't make sense if you don't know where we plug it in and what we're going to do later down the line. So let's look at this infrastructure for a second. This is the full infrastructure that we're looking at building throughout these 24 days of Christmas. What we've been doing up until now are prerequisites to be able to have AI create this type of content for us. Because if we look at the infrastructure here, we want a way of generating attention on LinkedIn. So, generating attention can either be done from sending messages or from posting things. In both instances, we need some content at the backbone, some way of actually getting people to want to give up their contact info and talk with us. On the other hand, when we're doing nurturing to actually make these B2B professionals trust us so that they want to buy our stuff, we need some content as well. So, what is this content? The content is what we will be creating today. These are the types of assets that we embed into all touch points throughout our marketing infrastructure. This is extremely vital for anything we do marketing related. So, with that being said, let's get into it. So, you have the document that you can follow here in terms of the steps. I will take you through how we prompt this and what you should keep in mind. So, first of all, you need to have done the day one and day two. It's not a necessity that you've done day three because we're not using anything from there. But if you haven't already, I recommend you to go to these links and to execute on the tasks from there, because we will use the outputs that you got from these days as inputs today. So, first of all, get your tabs ready. So I highly recommend you to use Gemini 3.0 Pro for this. If you use GPT, it's going to work. If you use Claude, it's going to work. But Gemini works way better for writing out these guides in the type of way that we want them to be. So I recommend you to, first of all, open up tab one with your ICP memo from day one. If you save that on a Google document or in your notes, then open that up so that you have it. Tab two, open up your offer memo, so the stuff that we created on day two, so that you have that easily accessible. And on tab three, get your AI interface up. So I recommend Gemini, as mentioned. So the first thing that we will be doing is to copy this prompt here. You will see, as with the other prompts, they're really, really long. So I wouldn't recommend you to necessarily read them if you're not especially interested in prompt engineering. Just copy it. And then you can see you need to paste your ICP memo and off memo at the bottom where indicated, meaning you need to paste it down here. So we've already done this so that we don't have to sit and wait for the processing. So in Gemini here, you will see in this chat, if we go all the way to the top, I have pasted this prompt. And then in the bottom here, you can see my ICP memo has started. Here I've added my ICP memo. And in the bottom of this, I've also added my offer memo. So the stuff that we then got out is a type of analysis of what type of lead magnets should we then be creating. And you will see here that you get three different alternatives for lead magnets that we can create. So your next step there, as outlined in the guide as well, is that you need to make a decision of which of those three concepts that were recommended are you going to be creating. If you don't like them, then you can of course write back to Gemini and say, I didn't like them, like I'm thinking more like this and that, come with new suggestions, and then it will. But these three will typically be pretty good. So in my case, I said I want to focus on concept one, but I don't want to focus on domains at all. The competitor descriptions should not go into details about the technical side of what they're doing. So you can see I'm also able to choose one of them, but to give a PS, I don't want to focus too heavily on this other thing. My mask was about to fall off here. I don't want to disclose my identity. Um, so with concept one, in this case, you can see it's an anti-agency architecture that basically breaks down the immediate pain of being scammed by marketing stooges, and where you basically have a bridge for why people should hire us to do this and why our solution makes sense. So pick one of these, the one that makes the most sense in your case. So you see, I picked concept one. And then in return, I get a deep dive interview protocol. This is very, very crucial because if we now just asked Gemini to start creating it, it would create something that sounds like an AI created it, like the LinkedIn post, like the blog articles that you see all the time that are obviously AI generated because there's no creative mind behind it. We circumvene this by getting the AI to ask us a set amount of questions. So when we go through and we answer all of these questions and we use them further down the line, the guide will be based on our thoughts and our ideas. So in this case here, you will see how I got, let's see how many questions, 14 different questions to answer. The thing that you want to be doing from here is you need to make an audio recording answering to all of these. So the way to think of it is such as if I am on a call with you right now and I'm a curious client or I'm a curious colleague of yours and I'm asking you all of these questions. You need to imagine that someone is sitting on a call with you. So you just record yourself. You can open up Zoom, you can open up whatever. Just put the meeting on recording or set up an audio recording where you just imagine that someone just asked you this first question here. And then you just sit and answer it. So I use Fireflies for this because inside of Fireflies, you can just click audio recording, start now, and then it records. But you can use whatever as long as you transcribe it. So you will see here, this is how my output looked like after. Because now answering these things, and also an important distinction, answer everything which is on your mind. Do not try to organize yourself, and at least do not try to type the answers. Because if you do so, it will be way more robotic and you will think too much of it. It won't sound like it is something that comes on top of your mind. Like you want that creative flow to be dictating this. So just answer. Like you can spend anything from 15 minutes to an hour. The longer you spend answering all of these, the better the end lead magnet guide is going to be. So we take that, we transcribe it, as I mentioned, and then we run the next prompt. So this is the architect prompt. This prompt here basically takes this transcript that we've made. It has access to all of the previous things that we've talked about in the chat, of course, because we're using the same one. And it maps out a structure for how we should create this guide. So we copy this prompt, we move it into Gemini, just like you can see I have done here, in the very same chat as we were already working in. And then at the bottom, we add one thing, which is the transcript. So here you can see this is me answering. So I've said question one. Well, the thing is that the agency itself might not be good. The problem is oftentimes the agencies get juniors or account managers or call them whatever you want. You can see here that I am not talking like I'm holding some TED talk. I'm just talking like I would on the top of my mind. It's the same thing that I want you to do here. So I've just answered all of these 14 questions. You can see in this case, I spent around, I think, 25 minutes answering all of them. Yeah, 24 minutes. So you could spend the same, you could spend more, you could spend less, but the more time you spend answering, the more details you have, the better the guide is going to be. So when I sent this prompt, I added a transcript. Then out of it, we get then a guide outline. So phase one, a structural diagnosis. And phase two, titling, or actually, now I'm talking wrong. Like this is just phases of how the prompt is done. Here we have the blueprint for how the guide is going to look like. So you can see section one, section two, section three, section four, and section five. So the next step that we do then is that we go to step four, the Ghostwriter Loop. So this is where things oftentimes get a bit complicated, because now you might be thinking, okay, where is my super prompt, Lasse? The prompt that I just put in here and then it writes the whole guide. Well, that would have been amazing. But the problem with the AI models right now is that it can't output insanely long outputs in a good way. It starts hallucinating and it starts losing its quality. So, what we want to do is that we want to send the same prompt back to the AI several times for each section where we're writing things. So, you can read this in detail if you want to, but the easiest way to think of it is that when we write the first section, we want to copy this, and then we just want to change up the bottoms. So the transcript needs to be there on every time we send the prompt. And then when it comes to the section abstract, that's the section that we're going to be writing right now. So for the first one, we want to add in the first section, and then under previous text, the first time we run this prompt, we write none because there is no previous text. So we send this to Gemini, as you can see here. We send this to Gemini, and then on the output of it, you can see this is section one, the one I wanted to write first. Previous text none. I've added a transcript. And then we have the following output. So you can read this for a second just to see how human this is written. The way that I've done this, though, while I'm making it, is that I've opened up a Google document and I've just pasted the whole thing. So I copied all of this from section one and then pasted it in here. And then when we went on to section two, we took the same prompt once more, this one, and then we just changed the section abstract to the new section we're writing, so section two. And under previous text, we took section one because we need to tell the AI what is already there so that it makes sense when it writes it and so that it flows well together. So you can see here how I did this, and then I got section two out, and then you will see here I did it again, but then I added section one and section two under previous text naturally, and then I get section three, and etc. So did that over and over up until the point where we had section five done. And this is the output that we got from it. I'm not going to sit and read you through the output because you can see it's 12 pages long and it is 4,440 words long, but the quality is incredible. So if you want to see this, there is a button below that has access to this document so you can open it and read it for yourself. If you're a B2B founder who struggles with referrals or referral dependency, then this is going to be a very interesting read for you as well. So I highly recommend you to see this to see how an output looks like when you go through this process. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's probably in the description. So that's the process from top to bottom. When you're done with it, you have the whole resource outlined. So you want to, of course, go through and just polish the document in itself. For example, I got like 2 M dashes in the first section here. So I removed them because I don't like, it's not supposed to write with M dashes. It did so once, but you want to remove the things which seem AI like. And you might want to change the headline like I did here. I added just a guide written by Lasse, mostly Gemini Pro, and etc. So do these small things so that it's a done document. But at this point, you could run it out. Like I could go ahead and send this to a lot of people on my pipeline right now, just to tell them that this is a way that, or this is a thing that you should read. It will help you. So That's how we create these types of resources. And if we look at the total time spent, I spent 24 minutes doing that audio recording. I spent around 10 minutes doing the prompting. So beneath 40 minutes, I was able to create this full 4,400 word document that is already good enough to send to clients and to have them convert to my services. That's pretty neat, right? I hope you go through this and that you try it and that it helps you a lot. So, over to the macro picture again for what we built now. Now we essentially built the content that builds trust with our audience, but we have no distribution yet. That's what we're going to be working on for the next 20 days of the Christmas calendar. We're going to be looking at how we place these types of resources inside of LinkedIn posts to generate a lot of traction with the algorithm there and generate leads from that part. And then we're going to look at how we embed these types of resources into our outbound campaigns to build good connections with niche audiences. And most importantly, these types of resources are the stuff that we embed into all of the nurturing. So, into all of the evergreen emails that we send, into all of the awareness ads that we show on Facebook, the core of it are these emails or these these lead magnets, of course. B2B Santa is getting a little bit tired already on day 4. That's not a good sign, but he will drink some gløgg, which we say in Norway, and then he'll pick it up. Anyways, if you want to skip this whole process that we're going through during the 24 days, like we will build out this infrastructure together. But if you want help building out that infrastructure, then we have a way where we can do this build for you. And during December, we're also giving some December incentives because of Christmas. At least not because December is typically a month with lower deal flow. Absolutely not. But if you want help with this, then I recommend you to check out the booking calendar, which I have below, because then I will be able to take you through a strategy session where we can look at how we place your business or how we personalize this type of infrastructure for your business. And we install this within around 60 to 90 days for you so that you don't have to do any of this. You just have us go in and do it as we've done hundreds of times before. If that is of interest to you, then just click on the booking link below and then we'll take a chat from there and then you'll get to know the next steps. So I hope this was helpful. This has been a really, really fun guide to make on my end. And it's probably the one I would argue it's the most valuable one that you'll be using throughout the whole Christmas calendar. Every part is essential to build the infrastructure, but this one is probably the most important one because you need this type of content. You need these types of resources. So, Merry Christmas and see you in tomorrow's day or episode. B2B Santa isn't completely sure, but see you tomorrow.